Has a parent or coach told you how much potential that you have inside of you? That if only you would believe, if only you would just take more risks, like you have so much potential. And you're growing frustrated because maybe it's hard for you to see it yourself. You hear everybody else around you say how much potential you have, but maybe you don't see the potential you have in yourself. Or maybe you know you have potential and you work super hard at it, but for some reason you doubt or are really critical and negative on yourself, or maybe you're just trying to be a perfectionist and you're starting to grow a little frustrated because you want to break free and you want to break through, but these things are holding you down like chains around your ankles. Well, in this video, I'm going to help you and show you exactly how you can break free and break through to the person that God created you to become. So let's get into it. The first question I want to pose to you guys, and I want you guys to write this down and think about it, is who God sees, who I see. Are you envisioning yourself in the way that God envisions you? And so today I want to talk to you about being intentional with identity. So in John chapter 1, verse 42, it says, "Then Andrew brought Simon to meet Jesus, looking intently." And I want you to really focus on that word intently. At Simon, Jesus said, "Your name is Simon, son of John, but you will be called Cephas," which means Peter. Jesus is looking at Andrew and Simon and looking intently at Simon, and not just seeing Simon, but he sees Peter. He's looking intentionally at who he is. I want to ask you a question. Are you looking intently, with intention, with a purpose, trying to not just see surface level, but see deeper and beyond who you are right now and today? Are you looking at yourself and who it is, the person that you are becoming? The experiences that you're going through, the skills that you have, the abilities that you have, the failures that you've endured, but you're standing. Are you looking intentionally at yourself and saying, "Thank you, God, for this process you're bringing me through, and thank you for the person that I'm becoming. Who is it that I'm becoming, God? Why am I going through these experiences? Why do I have these skills? Why do I have these abilities?" See, so many of us as athletes, as people, as performers, we want to achieve, we have big goals, we want to go D1, we want to perform, we want to do all these things, but we struggle with the mentality that it truly takes to go and achieve those things. And coaches will tell you, well, just, try this mental strategy or have a memory like a goldfish and all these like little strategies. And I'm always like, all that can work and all that's good and well, but if you're not developing your root system, if you're not getting deep and really transforming yourself into the creation that God has for you and that He's created you for, you can try to implement all these strategies all you want, they just won't stick. They won't stick because you're going surface level. You're not doing it with intention and looking at yourself and really getting deep about, God, who is it that you're creating me to become? The skills, the abilities, the thoughts, the perspectives, the negatives in life, my parents' divorce, my father leaving, my mother not being around, the bullies that are bullying me. God, who are you shaping me to become? I know you're looking at me with intention. Who am I becoming? See, in order to become who God is seeing us to become, we have to partner with Him in looking at ourselves intently. So the big question that I have for you guys is, does how I see myself align with how God sees me? Maybe you see yourself as someone that maybe no matter how hard you work, maybe you're just not good enough. Is that a God idea? Or maybe you're the type of person like myself for many, many years that thought, I'm going to prove everybody wrong, and when I prove everybody wrong, I'm going to feel so much better. I'm going to work my butt off and train 2 times a day and go to the gym 2 times a day and be on the field 3 hours a day, and I'm going to do my nutrition. I'm going to go get a scholarship. I'm going to go play football. And when that happens, I'll be happy and I'll be fulfilled. Is that how God sees me? Or maybe you're just down, you're stuck. Maybe you're struggling with a little bit of depression. Maybe you're struggling to get out of bed. And you're like, man, I'm worthless. Like, God, why would God want to save me? Why would God want to uplift me? Like, I'm so unmotivated. Like, I don't even care anymore. But is that how God sees you? See, we want to become, and we hear parents, we hear coaches, we hear adults always tell us, man, you can become so much more, so much greater. God has a plan for you. God has a destiny for you. God has a process for you. And you say to yourself, I want to become the person God created me to become. I want to fulfill the plans. I want to go out there. I want to achieve my biggest dreams. I want to go pro. I want to start a business. I want to do these things. I want to be successful. I want to have time freedom. I want to have financial freedom. I want to go to a great college or maybe not go to college. And I want to go, forge my own path, whatever it is. I want to become everything God has created me to become. We hear this all the time. Parents, coaches, adults tell us you can become so much more. But then the question we always ask ourselves Okay, well, how do I become? You guys are telling me all these reasons, all these ways, all these things that I can become, but how do I become? And this was a struggle I dealt with for a very long time because I have big hopes, big dreams, big aspirations, but so much of myself is self-sabotaging and holding myself back because I haven't quite become that person yet. See, sometimes we want blessings, but we haven't become the person to receive the blessing yet. And so for you guys as young adults in high school and in college, you want to receive all these blessings and all these wins and all these victories, but you have to become the person that would receive the blessing or even see the blessing in the first place. And so we always have to be on this path of becoming. And it's not just through working out more or just doing more nutrition or working with some mindset coach and learning some surface level goldfish mentality, mental strategy. No, it's about becoming and forging and crafting and refining who we are into becoming the ultimate creation that God has for us. Because here's the reality. You and I, we can force ourselves into success. I did it for a very long time successfully, both in playing college football and also in life as an entrepreneur. We can force ourselves into success. We can go to the gym, clock in our nutrition, take our creatine, be out there on that field, court, ice, whatever your sport is, and we can go hard and we can force ourselves into positions of opportunity. But if we're not doing it aligned and partnered with God, with like King Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, it's all meaningless. If we're not doing it with God, it's all meaningless. See, King Solomon was the wisest man and richest man to ever live, and God gave him everything because King Solomon asked God for wisdom to lead his people well. And God blessed him with wisdom and everything else. He had everything, wealth, fame, riches, everything. And towards the end of King Solomon's life, he got to this point where he's like, it's all meaningless if I'm doing it apart from God. And so we can force ourselves into these situations, but it'll ultimately only lead to empty fulfillment. We must be partnered with God on the journey and ask that big question, well, how do I become? Well, the good news is for you guys is God literally, so good, has laid out the exact process, the exact way on how to become the person to see and receive the blessings he has for us and become the ultimate creation and person that he's created us for. Because again, Jesus was looking at Simon intently saying, hey, you only see Simon, I see Peter. You only see Simon, I see Peter, because I'm looking at you with a purpose and with an intention. So how do I become? Well, I'm going to show you and lay out exactly how to become. But bear with me because it's going to be a little confusing at first, but it's going to be so crystal clear by the end of this video. So please stick with me. Give me your attention for 10 minutes, okay? Or 20 or 30 or however long this video is going to be. Here's the process, right? Here's the process. Write this down. To be, in order to become, to be, you must see. In order to see, you must do. In order to do, you must say. In order to say, you must think. Now you're probably looking at me like, what does that even mean? Well, I'm going to lay it out in order and show you exactly how God in Genesis 1, in chapter 1, lays out the exact process of how to create anything. By the way, he modeled how he created the heavens and earth. Here it is in order. I must think. In order to think, once I think, then I can say. Once I say, then I can do. Then I can do. Once I do, then I will see. Once I see, I can become. Because I can't become anything that I haven't quite seen yet. I can't become. But it's already inside of us. We just have to see it. So think, say, do, see, become. You want to become the highest version that God has created you to become. It's going to start with how you think. It's going to lead to what you say, what you project, and what you say, you do, or it creates, or it happens, and then you see it, and then you become. You see the fruits, you reap what you sow, you see it in front of you physically, you see it. If you plant the seed, the tree grows, you see the tree, it becomes a tree. So here's exactly how God lays this out in Genesis 1. Genesis 1, Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Now, spiritually speaking, right, the Spirit is hovering over the face of the waters. There's darkness, there's voidness. Well, God's like, there needs to be light. There needs to be light. There's nothing. It was void. There was darkness over the face of the waters. And here's the Spirit of God hovering over the face of the waters. There must be light, thought, intention, intentional creation. This is the power of thought. However you think and whatever you think ends up manifesting and coming to fruition. There's nothing that God ever has intention doing or not doing that isn't perfect. So what he models for us is that once we think it, we must be intentional with every thought. Because if we think negative, well, negative things are going to happen. If we think positive, positive things are going to happen. But it's not just like manifesting and faking this. This is spiritual. This is spiritual, which is also why it tells us in the Bible to take every thought captive, because we can go on the other side of the equation and we can think demonically as well and start opening ourselves up to opportunities that we don't want to be in. So we must be very intentional with how we think. That's why I'm so adamant with how we think, or how people think. Like, why are you thinking like that? Stop thinking like that. Or making sure I'm not around certain people who think a certain way because I don't want that energy coming on to me. So the thought was the intention of God. The intention of God was to do something, make something happen. Then God said, let there be light. Intention, speaking, and God said, let there be light. There was light. Light was created. You did the thing happened. Light was created. God created it. He did it. He said, let there be light. It happened. He did it. There was light. And God saw the light was good. Intention, said, let there be light, created light, and God saw that the light was good. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So then it became day and night. Let there be light. Intention, said, let there be light. There was light. Saw the light was good. God called. Now it's becoming. There's intention. It's becoming. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So in order for me to become, I must follow the same exact process. I want to become a Division I football player. I want to become a Division I soccer player. I want to become a professional MLB player. I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to build a company. I want to do this or that. Think, say, do, see, become. All with an intention. So let's look at now why this is so extremely important. Well, Matthew chapter 4, verse 18 through 20, it says, one day as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw the two brothers Simon, who also had called Peter previously, and Andrew, throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. Jesus called out to them, come, follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people. So all the while, when Andrew brought Simon to meet Jesus, Jesus saw Simon, who he was going to call Peter, because at that time, Simon only saw that he was a fisherman. They fished for a living. This is how they put food on the table. This is how they paid their bills. This is what they did. This is what their life's work was and what they devoted all their time, attention, energy to. And Jesus is like, yeah, you might be Simon, but I'm going to call you Peter. You might be a fisherman, but I'm going to show you how to fish for people. You just don't know it yet, because I know who you are becoming, and I see who you are becoming. See, I think it's so funny, too, how in the Bible it says he saw the brother Simon, also called Peter, and the fact that it mentions that he saw Simon, also called Peter, that Jesus called him Peter, but Simon was still operating at a level lower than the person that he was becoming. So Peter hadn't fully taken on the identity of Peter yet. So it says here, Simon, also called Peter, as if he was still trying to attach himself to that identity. See, Jesus all along was going to show him, you're going to be created. You were created for so much more. You're going to become so much more. I'm going to show you how to fish for people. But I'm going to need you to detach from that previous identity of lack of faith and belief. And I'm going to need you to fully attach into the identity of Peter, which is why I also think that when the disciples were sent away after Jesus fed 5,000 with the loaves and bread, which ended up 10,000 plus, whatever. But anyway, when Peter they saw Jesus walking on the water and thought it was a ghost, and they were all terrified. And it says that storms are raging and waves are raging, and it was dark and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. And Peter said, "Well, Lord, if it's you, then call me out walking on water." And Jesus said, "Come." And then Peter starts walking on the water, but then he starts to doubt and he starts to drown. See, I think that's also why that happened, is because still Peter wasn't fully stepping into his identity. And even though he had some success and some supernatural miracle to walk on water during a storm at night when everybody's terrified, but still sunk. And Jesus looked at him and said, "Why did you doubt? You have so little faith." It's because Peter still was attaching onto a previous identity, which is a whole side note. As I was writing this down, it kind of got revelation, which would be a whole nother YouTube video one day. But the point of this is, Jesus was seeing who Peter was to become at a higher level and was thinking greater thoughts than Peter could think at the time, or Simon could think at the time. But Simon just needed to fully step into Peter. So the question I have for you is, who is God seeing you becoming that you haven't fully stepped into yet? See, if you thought it's just a football player, just a basketball player, just a soccer player, just a college, just this or that, it's so much more. It's so much more. Now you can use your life's work to build the skills and abilities and the patience and perseverance to go do the thing that God is calling you to do. It's not that he doesn't want us to be competitive. It's not that he doesn't want us to be successful athletes. It's not that he doesn't want us to be successful business people, career people, whatever. It's that we must do it with the intention of doing it to bring other people closer to Christ, which is the sole mission of what we are here to do, is to bring others closer to Christ. So it doesn't matter if you're going to become an accountant. It doesn't matter if you're going to become a professional athlete. It doesn't matter if you're going to go be a missionary or a pastor. It doesn't mean if you're going to be a YouTuber. It doesn't mean if you're going to be a shoe reseller. It doesn't matter. Are you doing it with the intention of bringing people closer to Christ and taking care of God's people? Which is why God blessed King Solomon with everything. King Solomon prayed for wisdom to lead God's people well. And God said, well, since you're praying for wisdom to lead my people well, which is obedience, it's humility, it's honorable, I'm going to bless you with that and everything else. I'm going to give you all the desires of your heart because you sought first the kingdom and doing me well. So, stepping fully into the identity. Well, here are the 4 points that I have for you so you can actually go put this into practice and implement it into your everyday life. Well, number 1, the level of your thoughts always match the level of your faith. I'll speak for myself on this. When my thoughts are down, it's because my faith is down. When my thoughts are up, it's because my faith is up. But the level of my thoughts can never exceed the level of my faith. And if my faith is high, my thoughts cannot be below, down, under that faith. The level of my thoughts will always match the level of my thoughts will always match the level of my faith. So, if your thoughts are down right now, maybe you're like, well, I'm not capable, I can't do it, I'm not sure, I'm not this, I'm that. It's because your faith is down. If you're thinking right now, man, things are great, things are good, like I know I can do more, I know I can do great. Good, keep trusting God. Because once this comes out of alignment, that's when we start finding ourselves in the valley. And that valley has a very keen way, a very easy way, a very quick way of humbling us to a point of obedience back to Christ. And his way of showing us, hey, you're dependent on things outside of me. You need to start depending on me more because I'm not going to allow you. God is not going to allow us. He doesn't want us to get off the path. And there's sin in the world. So if there's a real God, there's a real devil, and he's prowling around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. So if we come out of alignment and disconnection, well, the things ultimately aren't going to lead to good for very long. Maybe for a short period of time, but not for a very long time. So the level of your thoughts always matches the level of your faith. If you want to get up there and get more motivated, get over this perfectionist tendencies, be more positive, you have to increase the level of your faith in him and think thoughts that are godly thoughts. Number 2, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So if you want to become this highest level of the person that you want to become, then you must be very intentional with how you speak. So you can think one way, but then start talking in another way. It's like when we get around groups of friends, and even though like our morals and our values don't align with those groups of friends, we start talking like those friends because we want to fit in, and then walk away from those friends feeling icky and feeling like we're in a setting and we just have this energy on us that's negative, and we're thinking negative, and we're just like, why am I in a bad mood now? It's because your thinking and your speaking are out of alignment. See, God is very intentional, and we can model that intentionality to make sure we're very intentional with how we think, but then we also have to be very intentional with how we speak. This is why when I had my training facility that I owned for years, and I coached a bunch of athletes, that I was always so adamant on how they talked. Do not talk negative. Do not talk with a negative tone. Do not have negative body language, because your body language is speaking. Don't say can't. Don't say, oh, I can't do that. I can't. Don't say that. Because you're creating things with those words. So don't say these things. Don't say, oh, I suck, man. Why do I suck? You're creating things. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So don't say I can't. Don't say I'll never be able to. Don't say I suck. Don't say why do I keep screwing up. Don't say, oh, I'm going to get benched. Don't say I'm never going to get that scholarship. Don't say, man, I'm unmotivated. I'm not this. I'm not a morning person. I'm not. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Instead, tell yourself, I will produce life towards my goals by being positive, purposeful, and passionate about what I do. See, I discovered a while ago, as I was trying to really just do this content thing on YouTube and Instagram, I'm not an entertainer. I'm not here to make anybody laugh. I'm sorry, like if you laugh, sometimes I can be funny. But I'm very intentional about how I do things. And I'm not here to be an entertainer. I'm here to be someone that inspires you guys to go take action. I'm a coach. This is what I do. And I have a fun side, I have a chill side, but I'm very intentional about how I think and how I speak because I'm doing stuff purposeful and passionate. See, everybody's gonna find their unique ability, unique energy, and should fully step into being authentic like that. And all you guys should go fully into being authentic like that. But it starts with how you think, being intentional with those thoughts, and then being intentional with how you speak. So if I said to you, okay, you suck. Okay. So do you think that you'll never be good? Do you think that you're just a bum? Well, no. Okay, so if you don't think that, why are you speaking like that? I don't know. No, I do know. It's because you have a bad habit. We need to start breaking that bad habit because that's a stronghold over your life and it's going to keep you limited if you don't start limiting it. So let's eliminate it so it doesn't limit you. If you don't want to be limited, then start eliminating negative talk. If you don't want to be limited in your life, start eliminating negative talk. I will produce life towards my goals by being positive, purposeful, and passionate because death and life are in the power of the tongue. And number 3 now, we have to execute, execute, execute. It's one of the most easiest and simplest things to do, but one of the hardest things to do because by nature, we're lazy, we procrastinate, we want to be comfortable, we want to be consistent for a little while, but then we're inconsistent. It's one of the toughest battles we fight, but we have to execute at the level of the person that we want to become. In Galatians 6:9, it says, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Now, why would it say this? Let us not grow weary. Well, God must know that we are going to grow weary. We are going to get tired. We are going to get complacent. We are going to chase comfort. So thank you, God, for your grace of letting us know that these are completely normal feelings that we're going to have and we're going to endure. But it's telling us to not grow weary of doing good because in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So don't give up. Keep going. Even if it's for a day or for a week, continue executing. Because here's the thing, guys. Here's the honest. Some weeks, some days, you're going to execute and you're going to get after it and you're going to crush it and you're going to feel great. And some weeks, some days, maybe even some months, you're going to just be in a pit and it's going to be hard and it's going to be just a struggle to get out of. But don't give up. Don't quit. Don't let 1 week turn into 1 year, turn into the rest of your life. Pull yourself out, pull yourself out, pull yourself out. Get around community, get around other like-minded individuals. This is why I have my program where I have a bunch of athletes and I coach them and I put them in groups and we coach and I make sure they're connected and supporting each other and praying for each other because we're going to get in those places and it might be that connection that helps us get through that pit, get through that negative time to help us execute. We must feel inspired. We must see others doing it and encouraging us to do it. So execute, 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 and do the thing that you're saying and thinking that you know and want to do. So this is your nutrition, this is your training, this is your sleep, this is your extra work, this is reading your Bible, reading your books, etc. Number 4, tunnel vision towards Christ. Now we're on to C. Think, say, do. Now we're on to C. Tunnel vision towards Christ. Tunnel vision. If you want to see the things in your life materialize, then our focus has to be on Christ. See, the minute that Peter took his eyes, took his faith, took his vision off Jesus and moved it to the waves and the storm around him, he started to drown. And then Jesus walked over with grace and compassion and said, why did you doubt? You have so little faith. Why did you take your eyes off me? I allowed you to walk on the water, and now you're walking on water, but there's a raging storm around you, and I've already brought you through one miracle, but now you're starting to fixate your focus on the storm around you rather than the miracle I just brought you through. So now you're starting to drown, Peter. Why'd you take your vision off me? Tunnel vision towards Christ. See, when I was a senior in high school, I snapped my ankle second week of my senior year. I was ready to go, in great shape. I had a bunch of recruiting, and I break my ankle my second week of my senior year playing football. Lost all recruiting, lost everything. Not gonna lie, I went through a tough time. But I knew God was good. Now, I wasn't super close to God at the time, but I knew I just had this feeling in my spirit that God was good. And so I trusted him. I prayed to him. He brought me through a miracle. And I won't get into the whole story, but if you guys watch the videos and get to know me more, you'll hear the whole story at some point. But he brought me through that season, ended up going to a boarding school, doing a post-grad year, had a great time, going playing college football, fulfilled my dream, won a bunch of championships, got a great education, yada, yada, yada. Here we are now. But that time of my life that I went through, my senior year, breaking my ankle, has gotten me through so many times in my life since then, the last 12 years since then. Because anytime I'm going through a negative circumstance, and even the circumstances are way worse than breaking my ankle, I always go back to the time I'm like, God, you've already brought me through so many other things. You've always been so faithful. I know I'm going to get through it now. So let me take the same attitude, the same thoughts, the same speaking, the same execution, and let me just double down and get to work and not stay in this pit because you've brought me through so many miracles. So I must fixate my vision on you, God. Not on the circumstances around me, not on the storm going on around me, because the minute that I start focusing on the storm that's going on around me, I'm going to start to drown in the storm. So when you tunnel vision towards Christ, you don't see the storms around you. You see the provision that he's ready to give us. You're not seeing the raging waves and the pit of despair and the adversities and troubles. You're seeing a faithful, good, abundant, prosperous God who has good things, who has hope and a future for us. So you tunnel vision towards Christ. You tunnel vision towards him. No matter what you're going through, I just got benched. Tunnel vision towards Christ. What if you getting benched is to work some patience inside of you and some dependence on God, so that way in the future, when you do go get that D1 scholarship, or you do reach that goal, or you do start that company or working at that job, that you remember when you got benched and how you ended up better because of it. And so now, even though you're going through another negative time in the future, you're going to become better for it because God is faithful, because he's already worked one miracle out for you, and he's going to work infinity more miracles out for you. So don't look at you getting benched by a coach or criticized by a coach or tearing your ACL or losing that recruiting or whatever the case is. Tunnel vision towards Christ. Don't be like Peter and take your vision off Christ and then you start to drown because you take your vision off God. No, tunnel vision towards Christ. You already allowed me to walk on water. You've already given the ability to play this sport. You've already given me the genetics. You've already given me the discipline. You've already given me the desire. God, that's a miracle in and of itself. I woke up today. That's a miracle in and of itself. I'm going to tunnel vision towards you, and I'm just going to get after it no matter the circumstance. That's how you become the person that God has created you to become. And lastly, number 5, to become, we got to fight the good fight. Fight. You have to fight the good fight. Okay? 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 11, pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness. This is Paul talking to Timothy as Timothy's about to go on and lead his ministry. Fight the good fight. It's going to be a battle. You want to become all of these things? Think, say, do, see. Well, in order to become and pursue these things, it's going to be a fight. It's going to take training. It's going to take you building your skills. It's going to be you training your tools. It's going to be you reading books. It's going to be you getting in coaching programs. It's going to be you getting around mentors. It's going to be you forging yourself through the fire and fighting to pursue these things. And then you can, and we will, become the creations and become everything, the highest potential that God has for us to become. So if this video is helpful, I'd appreciate you guys to make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, share it with somebody, share it with your son or daughter. If you're a parent watching this, share it with a friend or teammate or a coach. If you're an athlete who's watched this, if you're really trying to level up and become these things, really get coaching and guidance, I do have a coaching program. You can see a link in the description. I do have our workbooks where you can work through a daily mental performance training devotional where there's scripture, where there's mental performance training every single day for 60 days and more in the works. So if you guys are really serious about leveling up, I got more stuff for you. See you guys in the next video. I appreciate you. I love you guys. Have a blessed one.